Episode 3 of the Shibley Show. Today we're going to talk about the ongoing war against the police and Rayshard Brooks in Atlanta, amongst other things. First, I wanted to talk about what's going on in Atlanta. The continued attack on police continues, and it's going to have real consequences. Over the weekend, there was an incident in Atlanta over a man who was apparently asleep at a drive-thru at Wendy's while he was behind the wheel. The police are called and the questioning goes for 25 minutes. It's very polite. Throughout the dialogue, he's very polite to them. But then as they go to arrest him, he resists, knocks down the two police officers, and manages to grab one of their tasers. As he's running away, he turns and points the taser at one of the officers, fires at the officer, and at this point the officer shoots him dead. Keep in mind there was two officers. Footage is online, and this case is being used by the complete morons out there, and I say morons, as another case of the evil, racist police taking down another innocent black man. Innocent black man. It's sad whenever someone dies, obviously. It's sad that he was shot. But he was not innocent. He resisted arrest. He assaulted two police officers. A very strong guy took them down. Was able to grab one of their tasers and fires it at the officer. That's completely justified. Completely. I mean, what do you think is going to happen? People say, well, a taser's not a deadly weapon. What do you think is going to happen when if he does tase that officer? He's going to go over there. He's already showed that he's willing to shoot him. He's going to grab his gun and probably shoot him dead. I mean, that's a what-if scenario, but he had every right to use force in that case. And not all cases are created equal. This is not like George Floyd. This is not like Ahmaud Arbery. This is a case of assaulting a police officer, resisting arrest, taking a weapon from the cop, pointing at the cop, and then shooting it at the cop. And then he was shot dead. This resulted in the burning down of the Wendy's, which makes no sense. By the way, it was a white girl apparently that burned it down, so there you go with the SJWs again. You gotta analyze these situations because the headlines that come from the media are just a lie. They're just a lie. Things like unarmed black man shot by police. He was not unarmed. This interaction was very polite for 25 minutes until when they go to arrest him, he takes them down and manages to grab one officer's taser. And as he's escaping, the two officers run down the street, turns around and fires the taser at the officers. That is when they fatally shoot him down, obviously. I read the law for the city of Atlanta, and this use of deadly force falls squarely within the law. Squarely within the law. And of course, people were saying idiotic things like, well, a taser is a deadly weapon, so you can't shoot the guy. Well, no, he's already demonstrated that he's willing to take a weapon off an officer and use it. So if he fires and takes the officer down, what's to stop him from going to the officer, taking his gun, and shooting him? Are police officers just supposed to wait around and be shot now? Is that what we're doing here? Officers do not have to wait around to be killed. That is not how this works. He doesn't have to wait around to be injured by a suspect who's resisting arrest. The Atlanta mayor immediately fired this officer. She said, just because this was justified by law doesn't mean this was justified in action. Come on. Multiple police officers have said that this is not a bad shoot because it isn't a bad shoot. It isn't. Assaulting a police officer, stealing a weapon, then firing at him is not okay. They're not obligated to shoot to wound because that is not a thing. They will stop you. And now the DA is considering prosecuting this officer. And there's even the word murder being thrown around. Murder! The Atlanta mayor said there's a difference between what you can do and what you should do. Seriously? Seriously? Yeah, I'd love to see her patrolling the streets. I really would. If you're a police officer, what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? Just sit around until someone kills you or gravely injures you? I guess that's what they want. So the attorney for the family said, well, a taser isn't a deadly weapon. Again, whether it's this case or someone approaches you with a weapon to harm you, you don't have to wait around until they physically assault you. That is not a thing. If someone's coming up to me with a baseball bat and they're intending to do harm to me, I mean the first swing might not kill me, but I'm in every right at that point. Again, whether it's this case or someone approaches you, you don't have to wait around until they assault you. It's definitely not a thing when they fire a taser at you. You don't get to fire a taser at police officers without fear of being shot. Someone fires a taser at you, assume they are a threat and are trying to harm you. To prosecute a cop on these charges and a possible murder charge is insane. Insane. This is the world we're creating for these police officers, though. And the results are going to be the officers are going to quit. They're just going to quit because making their job impossible to do. I don't know how they're supposed to protect their families this way. They're just going to quit. I mean, who would want to serve under these circumstances? They're just making police officers' jobs undoable. And they know this. And they know this, of course. Police officers can't live like this. It's time to stand up for them. Stand against this mob. You keep giving inches and inches and inches, and it's just never going to stop. It's going to be to where there's not going to be any police. And what do you think is going to happen? So there was another incident with a Shake Shack in New York City where 3 officers in New York got sick from their shakes. They said that the 3 officers had been given drinks and they tasted bleach. But it turns out the machine just wasn't clean properly, which is good because you don't want narratives like this going around. So now the media has decided that the NYPD as a whole is bad. The NYPD is mean and they tell false stories. That's just funny. They had to go to the hospital. They thought they tasted bleach and had suspicion because all the anti-cop stuff going on. It's good to know that wasn't the case, but now the media says the NYPD is bad and people who attack cops are good. The NYPD is disbanding its undercover anti-crime unit. Crime stats are obviously going to explode, which is just the plainclothes cop unit, which is silly because they prevent a lot of crime from happening because criminals are more likely to do something with no cops around, obviously. I mean, that's why you have... police like behind hedges who are trying to catch people speeding. Like people speed when they see cops not around. It's the same thing. I mean, people are more likely to do crime when they see no cops around. Obviously. I mean, good luck with this massive crime wave that's becoming inevitable every single day. It's getting worse. Seattle is now trying to get rid of riot control gear such as tear gas and pepper spray, which is genius because you have the disgusting Summer of Love country known as CHOP in the middle of Seattle. It was Shaz. They changed it to CHOP. This is all making policing nearly impossible. Can they talk to one police officer before they change police policy, please? Like Joe Biden saying, just shoot the guy in the leg. What does Joe Biden know? Or most U.S. senators know about policing? Nothing. You guessed it. The answer is nothing. Have you heard the story of Shea McAlonis in Las Vegas? Probably not. I didn't. Of course not, because the media doesn't care. He was shot in the head during an anti-racism protest. He's now paralyzed from the neck down. He was shot during a mostly peaceful protest. If someone was shot during an anti-lockdown protest, do you think the media would say it's mostly peaceful? No. Prayers go out to Shane McAlonis and his family. They have a suspect in custody who is charged with attempted murder, battery, and a firearms charge. According to McAlonis' family, he's on a ventilator, paralyzed from the neck down, and unable to speak. The media just makes me sick, because the only shootings that matter are the ones they say matter. Because there's dozens of cops being injured all across the country, and I'm not sure how many, but some are dead. And you don't see any coverage about this. And then in the case of Shay McAlonis, I had to find this out on the internet on one of my favorite sites. I like Daily Wire and Breitbart, but you're not going to hear about it. No, they have to talk about Rayshard Brooks, who again resisted arrest, assaulted a police officer, took his taser, and fired it at a police officer. Fired it. Now the media is calling this officer a brutal racist. A brutal racist. CNN's Bakari Sellers says that Brooks was murdered. Murdered, point blank. Ugh. Now cops have to stand there and take it, I guess. No, this is not a thing. They don't have to stand there and take it. This is ridiculous. After all, he said it's a non-deadly weapon. Bakari Sellers. CNN has a bunch of experts on police procedure. There's no way to have a police force this way. There just isn't. And that's what it's coming to. People are quitting. And who could blame them? Who could blame them right now? They have been completely abandoned by not all politicians, but by a majority of politicians and figures in different cities. And who could blame them? Now, the great Chris Cuomo from CNN chimed in, of course. He knows about as much as policing as the Constitution, which is nothing. He suggested that the arresting officers had poor technique. Yeah, the pillar dumb Chris Cuomo. They had poor technique. The expert in police procedure, Chris Cuomo. It's a no-win scenario for these police officers. We have to stand up with them. We have to fight for them. They fight for us every single day. Trevor Noah, another police expert, who somebody thought was funny, I guess, I don't know. He said the sober one should have de-escalated it. They talked to him for 25 minutes. The tape was 40 minutes long, Trevor Noah. Trevor Noah, that policy expert, blaming the cops, because that's who we blame now. We got to figure out a way to say that it's cops' fault. Cops are bad. Cops are brutal racists. He says, how does this end with him losing his life? It ends with him resisting arrest, assaulting two police officers, grabbing the taser off one of them, and firing at him. This is not hard. This is not hard, Trevor Noah. This is not difficult. We need to stand up for these police because the mob is growing. They're trying to take our rights every single day. They're trying to take police away from us. What do people think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? I mean, my best friend's a police officer, his brother. I have a cousin who is one in another state. They are not getting the respect they deserve, and they fight for you and you and you every single day. Yes, there have been some bad incidents, and those are addressed. They're always addressed. The reason we know all these victims' names is because it's so rare that it happens. Stand up for police officers, because this is not good. You cannot be silent on this. You have to speak up about what's going on right now. So I ask you to defend the police. Defend the police. All right, that'll be all for me today at the Shibley Show. Make sure to comment, subscribe. You can email me at the bottom or tweet me. My Twitter handle's at the bottom, and just let me know what you think. Have a great day, and remember to defend the police.